Hey everybody, welcome back to the keyword selection and match type series. In our last video, we discussed phrase match, and in this video, we're going to be discussing broad match. And there's one qualifier here I want to give you. Whenever you set up an ad group or add a keyword to a campaign or an ad group, Google defaults your match type to broad. So you need to be very careful of this when you're setting up your ad groups and your campaigns. If you do not dictate what match type you want to go with your keyword or phrase, you're going to be set to broad match automatically. And I'll tell you why that's important here when I define what a broad match is. So a broad match is defined as follows. You can have your keywords that you're bidding on in any order. It will also include close variants of the key phrase or words. And then the third qualifier is that it can contain additional keywords or words in the user search phrase. So there's a broad match is pretty much the antithesis of the exact match and the phrase match, where those are restrictive and don't allow very much to go on with the user search query. They pretty much have to search for what your key phrase is in the order it's in. With the broad match, it's the complete opposite. It's basically there's no restrictions. All you're telling Google is that you want men's boots to be bid on, and then somebody could search for, I want to buy guys' boots, and that would trigger an ad, which would be good in that case, but it could also be, I hate guys' boots, and then you would be serving ads and potentially acquiring clicks and incurring costs for those clicks. So broad match can be very dangerous. So you want to make sure that if you're setting up a new ad group or a campaign, that when you set up your key phrases, you dictate to Google which match type you want each of those keywords to run for. Let's go over an example here. We'll go back to the Google site and show you an exact example from Google. So again, they're going with women's hats as the keyword here. And since it's a broad match, ads may show on searches for women's hats, buy ladies' hats, women's caps, hats for girls, women's hats, buy red hats for women. So you see, in their example, it's pretty much anything that relates to women's and hats in any order. And a lot of times this can expand your reach and make you much more available to users when they're searching for certain things and not necessarily have to search for the exact keyword that you're bidding on. But it can also get you in a lot of trouble, and you can run through budget very quickly. You can spend money on keywords or phrases that don't convert, and it can really just be a big hindrance if you've set it up and all your keywords are broad match and you blow through a budget and wonder why. It's because of this. It's because, as you see in Google's example, there are so many different variations in broad match that the word could show up for and trigger your ads for, that it's hard to really hone in on that user and make sure you're capturing them at the point of intent. How to dictate to Google that you want your keyword set up as broad match is to simply do nothing. And I'll show you an example. There's no dictation for broad match, or the dictation is to do nothing or add nothing in with your keyword. So let's go back to our AdWords campaign here and add a broad match keyword. So we'll go to ad groups. I'm going to add a new ad group so you can see this in its own. Excuse me. There we go, ad group. So we're going to call this one men's boots broad. We'll do this one just for the sake of this example. So then we'll go down here, and when you add your keyword, it will just be men's boots, exactly like this, and that will give you a broad match. Set the default bid to 150, then we'll save it. And you'll see now I have an ad group, and it's called men's boots, and it is a broad match because there's no qualification around it. And that's how you set up broad match. So again, I want to encourage you to be very cautious with this when you're setting up your new campaigns and ad groups. You need to understand that it's going to be defaulted in to broad match, and you can spend a lot of money on bidding on key phrases and keywords that are not necessarily going to convert for you. So if you do experiment with broad match, exercise caution and make sure that you're, first of all, aware that you're doing it, and know that, as you've seen in the example on Google's page, that it can trigger ads for a whole variety of variations and of the keyword that you're intending to bid on. So I'm very excited to go over in our next video the broad match modifier. So make sure you check that one out, because every caution that I issued here, Google created a way for us to avoid those and expand our reach with the broad match modifier. So again, make sure you understand that if you do not dictate what your match type is when you set up your ad groups and campaigns, that you understand that it's going to be broad match. And then remember what the definition of broad match is and what types of key phrases will trigger ads. And then again, always exercise caution if you're going to experiment with the broad match. We'll see you in broad match modifier.